it's another downer, a miserable end to a miserable season.
Yeah, you're right. Can't say any more than that.
Where does Sunderland go from here? What happens from here, David?
It's Sunderland rebuild. What we said it was when I came in, I think everybody said that Sunderland needed rebuilding.
Burton Albion have won. Sunderland are relegated to League One.
So Sunderland have bottled it once more, yet again, and it looks like we're getting relegated. Well, we are getting relegated.
Pretty depressing, to be fair, at the minute.
The games themselves are not fun anymore. We come to be entertained, allegedly.
He steps up, back, he'll hit it right-footed, and he'll score! And Portsmouth have won the EFL trophy! They win it 5-4 on penalties!
Need to get the ball in now. In it goes, a chance, Bauer! He's done it! Promotion for Charlton Athletic with just seconds to go.
If you're going through a hard time right now, if you've gone backwards instead of forwards in your life, if you're not where you want to be, or not where you expected to be at this point in your life, if you're going through a setback right now, I want you to know one thing. The comeback is always greater than the setback.
Pritchard's not done yet though. It's Ross Stewart! Sunderland took over Trafalgar Square last night. Now they're taking over football's most famous landmark. The misery in League One may be over. The championship is beckoning.
Well, it's just, I kind of, they came here and I felt like they were quite smug and they came with this Sunderland presence, and I just wanted to let them know that you're in our house, do you know what I mean, and you play by our rules. This is Wickham, this is Adams Park, and we are who we are. We're second in the table, you are wherever you are, and it's just like, respect us.
Welcome back to the Mackem in the Middle podcast, and it is feeling excellent to say this is the first podcast we will be recording as a championship club. 2-0 win in the playoff final on Saturday against Wickham, a team that I absolutely love to see lose a game like that, and I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But so many thoughts right now, Dylan, and I'm sure everyone's kind of the same, and I've definitely a few bad heads in Sunderland and in Durham, and I'm definitely one of them as well. But like you just said, literally 2 minutes ago before we started recording, it just doesn't feel real yet, does it?
No, definitely not. I mean, I'm sure we're all absolutely ruined today off the weekend, but I mean, it's been what, 4 years? We've had so many just tin pot horrible moments in this league, and then it was just so surreal to go to Wembley with a squad looking confident, a manager who's got the utmost confidence in what he does, and just going and playing a team off the park and not having to worry from beyond I'd say the 15 minutes. It was absolutely unbelievable. Yeah,
I don't know about not worrying. I think that was pretty much until the 95th minute for me.
Oh no! So as soon as the first win in, I was like, I knew they'd have to chase the game, and I know we got a bit shaky about halfway through, but then the second one went in just as I was starting to panic about an equaliser, and then after that I was too busy screaming to care.
Yeah, playing the Sunderland way, I suppose. That is the best way of putting it. And John, I think it was Wise Men Say put on Twitter, and it's a very accurate thing. That's our first promotion in 15 years. We've spent 4 years in League One, never won a playoff final in the club's history up until Saturday. And I don't think we'd won at Wembley since 73. We've had the Charlton game, the playoff game, where we conceded last minute in the first season. We lost to Portsmouth. The one time we did win at Wembley was when there was no fans there. But, just to finally get that promotion, get that win at Wembley, get the fans what they deserve, it was just an incredible day.
Yeah, it was a fantastic day, from start to finish. And obviously we've seen, I've been trawling Twitter most of the morning and most of the night, just looking at all the videos. If you search the hashtag and SAFC and just look through, it was just an unbelievable day for everyone. But it's a shame it's taken 4 years for us to get a manager who's just, I'll be blunt, who just knows how to get shit done. Wasn't always pretty. It wasn't always easy on the eye, but do we care? No one's really talking about performances from yesterday. Sort of, as a team, we just got the job done. And as Dylan was saying, we like I said, we got the job done there, and it lost my train of thought now. But yeah, we score early goal, and the onus is on them to sort of come out a little bit and just manage the game. And in the time's gone by, it's been a bit, we're nervous as anything. I wouldn't have said we were nervous. Just maybe at times we just needed to control the game a bit more. But when you got 46,000, the atmosphere was electric. Obviously, we know we were all there. There's going to be that little bit of pressure, but it's like we're saying, it's a shame it's taken 4 years, but it's goodbye to League One and hello Championship.
Yeah, hopefully forever as well. I'll add that. Hopefully never again we have to see a team like Wycombe or a team in League One that will play that type of football. But like, again, Dylan, we've said it and we're going to keep saying it. It is 4 years we've been in League One. Lost in the playoff final, lost in the playoff semi-final, lost in the cup final. There's been some absolutely horrendous times along the way, not just throughout the last 4 years, but this season as well. Obviously, going back to the Rotherham game, Sheffield Wednesday away, Bolton away, all games which I was lucky enough to beat to. There was times, not just this season, but in other seasons where we've, maybe been on a podcast or on Twitter where we've said, we finally feel like we have got our club back and we're heading in the right direction. And then, we might hit another bump and things might turn down again. But this is definitely that moment where things are, heading in the right direction. We're where we want to be for this season, for next season. And there's just nothing that's gone wrong since Alex Neil's came in.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's come in, he's steered the ship. I think he's improved. Almost every single player has improved their form under him. He's confident. He's never bothered like just talking bollocks in his interviews, saying all this and that. He just says, "Oh, we're going to do this, and it's fine," and then he goes and does it. And I think obviously, as you said, it's been 4 years, and I think the sort of jubilation really showed with the fans yesterday, because I'm not even trying to be biased, but obviously I live like 2 minutes walk away from the stadium, so I've been here for FA Cup final, England games, every big game at Wembley this year, and nothing's even compared to our fans yesterday. Like, my flatmate texted me when we were lifting the trophy and said that he could hear the noise from inside his room and his window wasn't even open. So I mean, it really showed yesterday that like it's finally looking good for Sunderland for once, and everyone knows it. And I think we all had that feeling of just relief and sheer happiness yesterday.
Yeah, and obviously when any team gets promoted, John, on the day, it is a great feeling for everyone involved. But there will be people possibly listening to this, I don't know, but there's definitely people out there that just won't understand how much this means to Sunderland to finally get out of League One. Odds of getting promotion every season, get lower. The league gets better, and I think, I can't remember the exact stat, but most teams that haven't been promoted in the first year or two of getting relegated to League One have then went on to spend 10, possibly more years in the league. So to anyone that doesn't understand how much this actually means to us, to Sunderland, to the players, likes of Lyndon Gooch, Luke O'Neill, and McGeady, who have been here from the start, it is hard to explain just how much it is.
Yeah, of course it is. Like we say, it's been a long slog. I think when the final whistle went, some of my thoughts were going back to, even my youngest mentioned, he said, "Oh, I remember when we got smashed off Bolton and, the Portsmouth game." And it was yesterday that was, like Dylan said, it was a massive relief. And I think you could feel that. It wasn't, I don't think it was just that feeling, but there was a massive part of that just thought, finally, it's taken us, like we said, it's taken us 4 years. And it wasn't, until after the Sheffield Wednesday game. And I just thought, if you don't get up first time of asking, then you're, I think we've done, I'll say, more than the hard yards here. We've absolutely been through it all. The playoffs, the checker trade, and all that kind of stuff. And eventually it's taken us 4 years to get it right. And I think they're at the beginning of that cycle. And I think teams like that and your derbies who are coming down are going to have to sort of get used to that. But yes, it was just fantastic. All round, like we're saying, the pitch, just every single person, just everyone on the same wavelength. I know obviously there's some on Twitter can be I'm not just saying Twitter, but social media can be a hard place at times for someone with different things going on in the background. But it just seemed like yesterday just everything fell into place, and we've got a manager, and it just summed it up. We got the job done, and that's all you want. Don't get me wrong, we'd have probably all loved to scintillating 5-0. It probably should have been 5-0 with the chances we missed, but at the end of the day, you can't grumble on a. We scored. We sort of played decent enough football. We were resolute, and a lot of the players we've had, again the final whistle. We're looking back at the players, who we've had and played at Wembley, and you just think they just wouldn't have coped, under that pressure. And we've seen that. Whereas these players and this manager and these coaching staff and everyone at the club at the moment just seem to be, just getting it done and meeting the expectation. It's a shame it's taken that long, but finally we're there, and hopefully this is the start of I want to say rebuild, but I think the rebuilding's already begun when sort of Alex Neil came in, and hopefully now we're on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, and obviously people will probably quickly forget it as well, Dylan, but a lot of these players were brought in when Johnson was here. So I think it was Alex Pritchard said after the game in his interview, he does deserve a lot of credit for what we achieved on Saturday, in terms of bringing players in. Getting players, from likes of Callum Doyle, obviously Speakman and that had a lot of involvement in that as well. But this, again, just for the first time in years, feels like this squad of players, especially the managers, the coaching staff, everyone is on the same page. You look at some of the celebrations from after the game, even the likes of Jack Clark, Patrick Roberts, Aidan McGeady, Lyndon Gooch, players that quite possibly and quite likely won't even be here next season. You could see just how much it meant for them, and that's not been the case at Sunderland for a while. Yeah, no, definitely.
You could see, you just as you just said there, you could see how much it meant to the players. Every single one of them, they were all absolutely buzzing. Especially Gooch for me, obviously. Yeah. Him and Embleton have been here for years now, come through the academy, and to finally get that big moment at Wembley where we've come out on top. And they could just hear the fans absolutely screaming for them. I was delighted for the both of them. And as you said, Lee Johnson definitely deserves some credit for because he built the foundations of the squad, and then Alex Neil just come and took over the reins and taken us the final few yards throughout the second half of the season. But it's just nice to see. I think we had the perfect squad to do it on the day, because we've got the homegrown lads who know what it means, and then we've got the likes of Pritchard, Roberts, who are just quite clearly so far above League One level. Yeah. It was just really, I'm really delighted for them all that they managed to get the job done on the day. Obviously, I'm delighted for us, the fans as well. But I can see it meant just as much to the players, which was really nice to see.
Yeah, we'll get into the game, John, and then obviously there's a few other things we'll talk about at the end. But with every game at Wembley, especially a playoff final, but any final in that matter, it's quite hard to enjoy the game, really, because of how much is at stake, and the fact one mistake could essentially cost your season. But it didn't. We got started pretty well. Alex Pritchard's free kick, which I think most people in the stadium thought had gone in, hadn't. But from the first minute, Sunderland looked the better team.
Yeah, very much a better team. I think I think it was 4 minutes or so on the clock, and already Stockdale sort of on the floor and holding the ball.
I think it was 2.5 minutes into the game. We went out for a goal kick, and I think their defender kicked the ball away to waste time, and that was 0-0. It's like you could. That's a real indication of how much Sunderland were pressing early on in the game.
Well, yeah, that's the tactic, and it probably stay in the game sort of 60, 70 minutes. See if people get restless, see if they can deal with the pressure, then try and hit them. But the best thing, and I said to the guy who was next to me, the best thing that we can do is to hit them early. And if you do that, they then have to come out. And that's when there was the space there. Obviously, the space opened up a lot more later on in the game when they had to chase it. I thought we managed the game fairly well first half. you know, I don't think they really did a lot. I don't think Vokes really threatened either. You know, it's always one of them, and as soon as we come up against somebody, it's like, oh my god, they got Super Sam Vokes.
Yeah.
You know, and to be fair, he didn't really do anything. The Bailey Wright and Danny Bart sort of dealt with him relatively well. So yeah, the first half 1-0 up, you can't really grumble with that, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, we did take the lead, of course, in the game, Dylan, and again, it was fairly early in the game. I think it was Pritchard gets the ball off 09, Embleton takes it off him, goes on a run, smashes it into the back of the net, and I don't think anyone really cares how it went in. All that matters is it went over the line and it counted. No VAR distractions for that goal, and I don't actually think there was in the entire game, which was quite pleasant, to be honest. But you know, what a time to get the opening goal.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the way, like, the best thing to do is always to get a goal as early as you can against a team like Wycombe and then keep controlling it from there. And I mean, even people saying, oh, keepers of the shape should have saved it, this, that. It doesn't matter, because the goal, like the rest of the goal, was absolutely unbelievable. He took, as you say, he took the ball from the halfway line, just drove, got himself as far up the pitch as he could, and as soon as he saw the gap open, he just hoofed it. And also, I think it did swerve slightly through the air, so I think that's why. I don't think it was as easy to save as people are making out. But, I mean, then 15 minutes in, you find yourselves 1-0 up against a side who are already looking as though they're bricking it. And then I think it took them a good few minutes to sort of recover from that as well. And we just kept pushing on from there. So I was delighted that we managed to get an early goal.
Yeah. And obviously in the first half, John, there was so many chances Sunderland had. You know, I go back to that Ross Stewart one. I think it was Pritchard put a ball in the box and it was their defender that missed it. Stewart's at the back post and he's just put it wide, you know, kind of full stretch. Not necessarily a great chance, but definitely a chance. Obviously that Pritchard free kick, which, you know, we've seen him score from similar range multiple times just this season alone. Sunderland could have easily been out of sight at halftime.
Yeah, easily. Obviously, we've all watched it back, and the Stewart one at back post is probably easier than the goal he actually scores. You know, we know that we've got the quality in there, and I think I was a little bit disappointed as well with Pritchard's free kick. I was the other side of the goal, so obviously I saw it go wide, and I think people over your side obviously thought it was a goal, but yeah, it wasn't. You know, people were saying, "Oh, it's close," but it wasn't really close. So you'd expect him to do a bit better. But like you say, if we had been, I think 2 or 3-0 up at half time, I don't think anyone could have grumbled. Obviously, they had their attacks. They had to open up a little bit because of that we scored early. I don't think we dealt with it, as well as we could in managing it. But ultimately, like I say, we saw it to half time, and we'll take a 1-0 lead at Wembley, and it just felt a little bit different to, I kept thinking about back to Charlton, where, I'd probably personally say it's a similar thing, the goalkeeper mistake. I think if Patterson lets that go in that their goalkeeper's letting, I'm probably raging at that. That may be doing him a disservice, but I'm not having that one at all. And then you're always thinking, we definitely need that second goal just to kill it, because you never know with something. One, Mackem, to be fair, when he come on, he's only got to do one good thing, and it's 1-0, and then tails are up, and then then you'll see, can we deal with it? So it was nice to see this time. You just felt that we could just, we were sort of just holding them back, like, holding someone just on their forehead while they're swinging. It's like, yeah. And then you hit them. And for me, that's what we saw.
Yeah. Well, it was 79 minutes it took, Dylan, for us to get the second goal. And again, a very, very well-worked goal, especially in the build-up. I think it was Pritchard and Roberts, played a 1-2 again. Pritchard gets the ball back off and plays into Stewart in a yard of space in the centre of the box. And, as soon as he hit that and you see the goalkeeper flat-footed and, you see the ball rolling over the line, I don't think I've celebrated a goal as much in my life.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It was unbelievable. Just what a finish as well. I mean, that was, as you said, Akinfenwa had come on when they start. I think that was when they started to just get themselves into the game a bit more. And I was just starting to think, oh, could there be a chance of an equaliser here? And then Stewart's just smashed the bottom corner, keeper's plea, got his feet planted, and it was just the perfect time to assert our dominance on the rest of the game. I mean, like at that point, that was as soon as we realised that, oh my God, we're actually could be going up here. And I mean, I think everyone saw the limbs. Everyone probably felt the limbs. I know I had them on the floor at one point.
Yeah.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and people always say the first goal in the game is the most important, John, but I don't think that, especially in a final of that magnitude with that much at stake, I don't think that is the case. You know, that first goal obviously knocked Wickham a little bit, but I don't think it changed too much how they would play. You know, they were still trying to be resolute at the back and not give away any chances and, you know, hope to just get a good ball in the box and, you know, maybe take one chance that they get. But as soon as that second goal goes in, especially against a team like Wickham, who then have to try and play football to beat you, that's when, you know, you can really see the difference in class. And like we said multiple times, Sunderland could have scored another 3 or 4 after the second goal as well, which, given there was only 10 minutes left to play, it just shows, you know, how much Wickham had to do to try and get back into the game after that.
Yeah, you know, they're a solid enough team. Personally, I do think the early goal has changed the dynamics a little bit. You know, if they score first, we'll keep it at 0-0. Like I said, I think they get much more resolute and try to frustrate us. But you know, you take your chance on 80 minutes, because I think I was talking to the guy. You know, never met him before in my life, but obviously we're best of mates now. I was talking to the guy next to us, and just before the goal, we said, "Oh, Doyle's coming on," and he said to me, "Oh, I'd prefer a second goal before we bring Doyle on." And then obviously straight away, Pritchard nips inside into Stewart, and then literally we kill the game. You know, 2-0. Like you say, it's game over, because they're not gonna come back in any way, shape, or form with how solid we are. And then obviously you bring Doyle on and manage the game out. So yeah, I think the goals came at crucial points. Don't get me wrong, we probably could have scored another 5, and that's not being over confident. And obviously you probably got to give a shout out to, was it just before that, you know, when the bounce obviously evades Bailey Wright and goes over his head, and you know, your head, your heart's in your hands almost, and it's, you know, what can we do? And then, you know, start of the season, up steps Anthony Patterson, who's sort of third choice and probably wasn't even supposed to be here if, you know, Hoffman and Burge hadn't have had their health issues, and pulls out an absolute top drawer save that, you know, in years gone by, that probably would have scurried underneath him and gone in, and you know, it's a totally different outcome maybe. So it was the moments in the games that, and for some reason, I don't know why, but some reason it just went our way, and finally, you know, and hopefully, like we said, we're on a sort of a turning point now, and you know, the Wembley hoodoo with, you know, that Alex Neil has got nothing to do with it anymore. You know, that's firmly put to bed now, I think, you know, because, you know, these players have dealt with the pressure of playing in front of 46,000 who, to be fair, you know, demand a lot, but, you know, when it's given back, it's reciprocated. So, you know, it was a good one around.
Yeah. Obviously, since we've been in League One, Dylan, there hasn't really been many moments, or minutes, I should say, that you've been able to enjoy as a Sunderland fan. Most of the time it has been depressing, but like I said, 10 minutes left to play, Sunderland were 2-0 up, and I think most people, even the most pessimistic of Sunderland fans, and there's definitely some out there, pretty much knew the game was done then. You know, like I said, Wickham had to throw everything forward, and you know, that left space in behind when Clark came on, who also looked dangerous when he did so. But for them 10 minutes, I think that is probably the first time you've been able to watch Sunderland play in League One and just not worry and just enjoy the occasion.
Oh, 100%. That was the most stress-free, enjoyable 10 minutes of football I've experienced for God knows how long. I mean, as soon
Lost him. Shall I go over to you for that one, John?
I think I missed that one as well. I think my signal went down.
Yeah.
Oh, and League One, obviously enjoying. When have we been able to enjoy it? Like you say, there hasn't been many times at all. I was even trying to think back yesterday when, you know, have we ever been at a point in this league where it's, you know, it's been sort of a stress-free. You know, we know we've been sort of 5-0 up in games, and there've been really good performances, but it's always been put to bed and let's go again. And I think maybe we're looking at Alex Neil, and when you interview him after a game, and he's going through his press conference, and like, can you enjoy this? It's like, well, we've literally enjoyed it now. We've said the job needs to be done. We got the job done. We're moving to the next one now. In fairness, for the moment, there isn't a next one. It's almost like we were saying at the start of the pod, it's a relief, the relief that we've got there. And like you say, those 10 minutes, it was just, like you say, carefree. The atmosphere was maybe turned up a notch, one or two, which you'd expect. And then I'm not sure where they said 5 minutes, but it felt more like 9 or 10. The last, which got a bit edgy and nervy because you never know with Sunderland. But yeah, like you say, it's for those 10 minutes we were just on absolute cloud nine. And to be fair, we probably deserve it.
Yeah. And I'm presuming Dylan's back, and I think we'll probably just skip the player ratings for this one because I would probably feel like I would have to give everyone a 9 over 10 because I just think it was a team effort. Everyone put the performance in that they needed to do. No one had a bad game, and the effort from everyone is what won us the game.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, everyone just give it every fibre of their being from the first blow of the whistle to the final one, and they certainly did us proud. And like everyone did their part. However, for me, Anthony Patterson was our best player. Like I know Pritchard got man of the match, but I think Patterson was very hard done by walking off that field without having the man of the match award. But everyone was unbelievable, and as you said, they're all 9s or 10s, because we're promoted. So any minor mistakes that were made in that match do not matter now. It's in the past, and so is that division.
Yeah. And I suppose that leads on to John. Who would you go with for man of the match? We'll have to do player ratings, like I said, but we'll give a man of the match.
I can't disagree at all with what Dylan was saying. I thought Patterson, commanding in his box. You look at what happened at Wickham, they would have said the same. Get around the kid. He is still a kid. He's a young lad. He's really quiet. Obviously, I've briefly spoke to him before, and even the coaching staff said, "Oh, you're lucky to get 2 words out of him." So it's a fair play to him. On the biggest stage, in front of 46,000, local lads. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's keeping. As a keeper who's on the books of Bayern Munich and Lee Burge, who's played in the Championship before, he's keeping those two out. So, yesterday they would have targeted him to it. To be fair, we've been crying out for a keeper who can come out and claim crosses, and he did that. He did that with ease. I didn't see him drop one ball at all, apart from once in the warm up, and the save. Any goalkeeper coach, not that I am one, but will tell you as soon as you're one-on-one with someone, and come out, spread yourself as big as you can. Yeah. And again, that's all you can ask, and that keeps us in the game. It's it's other players, bailing other players out. Obviously, Bailey Wright just misjudged the ball. It's obviously just bounced, one-on-one, and you've got to have your keeper there doing that type of thing. So yeah, for me, Anthony Patterson all the way. But I think it's very much. I think we're very much a machine in the sense that it's everyone doing their jobs. Like I'd say Luke O'Nien was fantastic yesterday without really doing anything sensational, if you know what I mean. I thought, just in the tackle and the blocks and that type of thing. And the contrast you'll see is, I think, in the second half when they did have a few long shots, you saw our players, Bailey Wright, Danny Bart, just throwing themselves in front of the ball. If you look at the defending for Ross Stewart's goal, taking nothing away from him, but they just sort of back off, stand off him. With us, you don't see that. It's bodies on the line, and that was the difference for me. But yeah, very, very solid performance all round. But yeah, Patterson man of the match. Sorry to be so long-winded.
It's all right. Obviously, we're gonna do another podcast anyway, Dylan, to kind of talk about this season and look ahead to next season a little bit more. But we've said multiple times now about Alex Neil and what he's changed. He's been brought in. He's improved us defensively, which was literally the one thing that we needed to change. If you improve our defence, stop us leaking goals, chances are we would have got promoted because scoring goals wasn't an issue. Ross Stewart, 26 goals he's finished on this season. Alex Pritchard, one of, if not the best player in the league in terms of creativity and even goal contributions. I think he got quite a few this season, Embledon as well. So it was always just a case of sorting out the defence. That's what he's done. And like we've said a few times now, if there's any manager that we've had in the last 5, 6, God knows how many years that you would trust us at the next level, it is Alex Neil. And like I said, we'll get on to next season in a later pod, but you just really don't know how far he could take us.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just like I'm sure everyone's in the same boat when I say that. I feel so much just optimism going forward with Alex Neil at the helm. And I mean, like as you said, it's been absolutely years since I've had a manager who you just know is capable of like doing what needs to be done. Like I feel so much different. Like even so, obviously when he was here, I thought Lee Johnson was the man. But now that Alex Neil's here, it's so night and day that like Alex Neil's just like above this level, and hopefully he's going to take us further. And there's no reason why. I mean, obviously, give it some time. I don't want to be jinxing anything, but you've seen managers take teams from League One to the top end of the Championship or even the Premier League. So, I mean, as they say, things can only get better from now.
Yeah. And, there is so much that we could talk about, John, but without, kind of going into what we would talk about in the next podcast. There are players out of contract. There are players that look like they will be returning to parent clubs. Obviously, I think Diaku is one that will definitely be staying because I think we have an obligation to buy him if we got promoted. I could be wrong on that, but I'm sure we'll find out in the next few days. But Nathan Broadhead looks like he could be going back to Everton. Jack Clark, a few others, like I said, Lyndon Gooch, McGeady, Bailey Wright out of contract as well. How important do you think it is, off the back of, a playoff win, the best way you can possibly get promoted, I think, 16 games unbeaten, playing, some of the best football in terms of, tactically and effectively that we have in League One. How important is it to keep this squad together and obviously add a few more additions in the summer?
Yeah, I think that's quite a big job, and I still think we've got quite a big sort of, I don't want to call it a rebuild, but we've got, a lot of things to do with the squad. Obviously, you're looking at players like, your Lyndon Gooch and your Bailey Wright, who you'd think would, you'd maybe want to keep. But what is the plan when we do go up? Is the plan to, replace them? Obviously, we don't want to play Lyndon Gooch at right back. But is he going to be an option sort of on the wing that Alex Neil's happy to go with? Other players such as, Clark will probably return to Spurs. Would we get him back on loan? Obviously, it's a possibility. I think that there's so many, I could go for those like Hoffman. He probably wants to play first team football. I doubt he's going to get it here. So we've maybe seen the last of him. Obviously, I'm not sure with Dayaku. It's going to be a tough one if Alex Neil hasn't even really had him in and around the squad at all. So that's a tough one. But then, you look at Patrick Roberts, who seems to have, I think he's looking for somewhere where he feels loved. And I think he's slowly just about getting there. So I think he's one that could possibly stay. But I still think it's a massive job in the summer to add to. I don't think we've got a bad squad. If you think about, obviously, Niall Huggins, who we've got to come back in. What's the state of play with Jordan Willis? We've got obviously Jamajli. Does he stay? Probably not. So there's going to be a big turnover, which might, I think, force the hand of, start re-signing players like Bailey Wright and Lyndon Gooch to keep them as, even if we do upgrade, those are still going to be squad players. Obviously we need another striker. Burge is probably out of contract, so we probably need another keeper. We probably still need, another left back to cover Cirkin. So there's so much up in the air. Like you said, we could talk all day about, so many players. I think the good thing is we've got most of them, sort of Pritchard, at least has got another year. We can maybe get, I expect McGeady's probably the last one. The one who's going to go out the door. And you think the money he's on, which that will free up a lot of space for other people to come in. But yeah, again, like I said, it is a massive job for the summer.
Yeah. And obviously, there's so much that will happen over the next few weeks in terms of, we'll find out who's getting a new contract, who's staying, who's leaving. And of course, the transfer rumours have probably already started. I think they have in terms of one or two players. Obviously, Bellingham. Jude was at the game yesterday. Whether that was to do with the rumours of his brother signing for us if we got promoted, I don't know. Whether he was just there because obviously previous links with the likes of Speakman and whatnot when he was at Birmingham. That is yet to be seen.
Or he's a massive lads fan.
And he could be signed for us in summer. I would definitely take him, I think. I think he'd be an improvement. Yeah. Jude, Pritchard, and maybe another midfielder we could bring in.
Sign his brother as well.
Too many. Get him as well.
Too many. Wow.
Go all out for it. But obviously, like I said, there's so much that is going to happen over the summer. I don't know when the next season starts, but it's going to be a long wait. I can tell you that for free. But for now, and especially with this podcast, it is literally just a case of enjoying the fact that we've achieved what we've been waiting to achieve for 4 seasons now. We're finally over the line, finally heading back to where we want to be. Like I said, literally just a case of enjoying it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's going to be a much more enjoyable experience this summer. I think we're going from thinking, oh, what are we going to do in the summer, in a sense of who we're going to sign to get us up because we've not managed to do it this time or the time before. Now it's like, I'm very excited to see what we're going to do because there's the foundation there to build on and to just to improve the side. And it's going to be very fun and hopefully a very, very good season ahead. And I mean, obviously, as we said, there's a lot of players need to come in. Some will stick around, but there's no point building a team with aims of finishing mid-table. So let's just hope they build the best side possible. And why not? Let's get back-to-back promotion. Tom Flanagan said it was possible, and he's gone now. But maybe his ideas can reign true.
Yeah. And again, John, that's probably something we'll discuss later in the week or next week or whenever we do another podcast. But the opportunity to achieve something again next season isn't something that should be ignored, really. You know, Sunderland are a big club, whatever people will tell you. And obviously, depending on what happens in the Premier League games later on today, I think they'll probably be finished and completed by the time this is out. But, you know, Leeds could get relegated. But Sunderland will be one of the best supported, one of the biggest clubs in the Championship next season. Obviously, the season before this one, there was a rumoured 60 million transfer budget had we got promoted under Lee Johnson. The truth in that, I don't know. Again, that's something we'll wait and see over the summer. But when you've got Alex Neil, he's achieved promotion to the playoffs with Norwich in the Championship. We can attract players, you'd like to think, and you'd like to think we have the money to bring, you know, quality in. Young players in, bleed them through the first team. Like I said, that you just really don't know what next season could entail.
No, you don't. I think that's the bit of excitement. I think maybe behind closed doors, it will be a sort of get up and sort of steady the ship and, you know, sort of a comfortable mid-table place. And if and when you do that sort of fairly early on, there's always that, you know, that you might get the sort of sneak into the playoffs. I think we've got a really good squad that's got the potential. I think, you know, like I said, with, you know, Sirkin, who's got a year under his belt, and you know, sort of players like him, if we can add the quality, and we, like you say, we should be able to attract the players. You know, we've got Jack Clark to come to League One, we've got Patrick Roberts to come to League One, we've got Pritchard to come to League One, we've even got Alex Neil to come here. Certainly when we go up to the Championship, you know, people will want to come and play. People will see the scenes they saw yesterday, you know, and want to come here and want to play, and that's how it should be. And I think again, that adds to the excitement. I'm probably half nervous, half excited for what it will bring. But you know, we know under Alex Neil, he's got a knack of getting the job done. And if you can get the job done for us next season, then you know that'll be absolutely fantastic. But maybe just erring on the side of caution, and we'd probably take a mid-table season for one
absolutely
season.
At the minimum, stay up, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, sort of your mid-table. I think I would take, because I think, in fairness, we have got the players. I think we've got a lot of players who could have played. You know, he's probably sort of a good player for the Championship. You know, you get a lot more space. I think that will suit types of players like, you know, Jack Clark and Patrick Roberts, where they can flourish maybe a little bit more. You know, let's see if Ross Stewart can step up. I'm sure he can. You know, and let's see. You know, at the end of the day, we're here to enjoy it. So let's go and do that.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it there. Like I said, we'll have another podcast at some point, hopefully in the next week. I don't know when. That will be arranged in due course. But we'll look at the whole season, pick out, you know, the best moments, the worst moments, best players, and of course look ahead to next season and kind of decide what we think, you know, could happen. Address any rumours that might have come up between now and then. Of course, you'd like to think or possibly assume that contracts will have been dealt with by the time we get around to recording that. I think Lyndon Gooch said that he's going to sit down with Alex Neil on Tuesday to talk about his future at the club, and I imagine that's going to be the same with a few other players. So we will see about that. But whatever happens, it's going to be an exciting time. Like I said, the transfers, just everything now. It's kind of stress-free. There's no kind of pressure on Sunderland anymore. When you're in League One, the expectation is always to get promoted. We've finally done that. We're in the Championship now, and of course we don't want to be here for too long. But there's no real expectation. There's no underdog story whenever any team comes to play us. There's going to be no time wasting this, that and the other. It's going to be a complete fresh start for Sunderland and everyone involved. Hopefully that Stadium Light is packed out again. Opening day of the season. Leeds at home would be perfect, or Borough. Someone like that would be an excellent way to start the season and hopefully, achieve something again. But like I said, we'll have another podcast out in the next week or so discussing all of that. And until then, drink plenty, and we'll see you later.
That's all, folks.